All right, we'll call to order the June 30th meeting of the Emmitsburg Planning Commission. Everybody rise to say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everybody. First, we will review and approve the minutes from our last meeting, April 28th, 2025, correct? Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? If no comments, a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
All right, minutes are approved. All right.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
All right, do we have anybody signed up for public comment? No? Okay. Were you ladies here for public comment? Comprehensive plan? Okay. Would you like to comment on it at some point?
Yes.
Okay. Would you? Yeah, technically we sign up. Yeah. We're supposed to have public comment prior to review, but if we want to do that after maybe the staff presentation, we could do that. All right.
Wait a second, are we in public meeting or are we in a public hearing at the moment? Because you had to have a hearing.
Okay.
So I'll do my presentation and then you'll open it up for public hearing.
For public hearing.
Yeah,
Which includes public comment or does not include public comment?
that does include public.
It does.
comment.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No problem. Okay, if you want to move forward with your presentation, Najila?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So before I start, I wanted to note that you received two maps. The first is figure 5.1 on page 5-4. Also appendix 1, which is the streams in Emmitsburg. And the second one is figure 6.5 on page 6-14. Or also appendix number 5, which is proposed growth boundary and opportunities area. So those should go in the draft. So this is the proposed draft of the 2025 comprehensive plan for Emmitsburg. It serves as the town's long-term policy framework for managing land use, development, infrastructure, and public services. Its adoption fulfills the requirement under the Maryland Land Use Article that jurisdictions must update their comprehensive plan at least once every 10 years. The plan aligns with the Maryland's 12 planning visions, which were required elements at the time of drafting. Although the Maryland Department of Planning has since adopted a new set of 8 planning principles to replace the 12 planning visions, jurisdictions adopting plans before October 2025 are not required to incorporate them. Nevertheless, the key elements of these principles are kind of reflected throughout the plan. So the development of this plan, as you know, took place over nearly 2 years and was shaped by public input. Workshops focused on 3 pillars of sustainability, economic vitality, social equity, and environmental stewardship. These pillars guided the community engagement process. To highlight some of the points in the plan, housing strategies that promote diverse, affordable housing options, economic development initiatives aimed at business revitalization and job growth, smart growth policies that balance development with the preservation of Emmitsburg's natural and historic resources, and the introduction of a growth boundary and a growth opportunity area to ensure growth aligns with the infrastructure capacity. The plan also outlines strategic action steps for each focus area. Implementation strategies include infrastructure investment, zoning updates, development incentives, enhanced code enforcement, and leveraging grant opportunities. So this is intended to be a living document rooted in community input, designed to adapt over time. And it positions Emmitsburg to manage change in a way that preserves the town's identity while embracing sustainable growth. And making this vision a reality will be ongoing and a collaborative effort. That's my presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Nijila. Thank you for all your work on this. It has been a long and tedious process, I am sure. Are there any questions for staff from members of the Planning Commission? Okay. I had a couple of questions based on the comments from, I believe, the county and the state. State of Maryland pointed out that we don't have any discussion on area of critical state concern element. Is that because we don't have any to discuss? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, just making sure. And then in terms of the adopted Frederick County water resource element, the discrepancies on their capacity numbers versus our capacity numbers.
Mhm.
Should we align our capacity numbers with theirs? Are we
Yes.
gonna do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I read over the municipal portion of their water resource element. It didn't really, I personally didn't see a need to include any of that in our comprehensive plan, but that's just me. Other commissioners may have a different opinion on that.
I tend to agree. I tend to agree with, I'm trying to get to the microphone here. I tend to agree with you not to need to add it, because as you said earlier, it's a living document. That capacity is going to change
Mhm.
more than likely within the next 10 years, the life of this plan. So
Okay,
as that changes up or down,
yeah,
if we bring another well online or whatever we do, where we add additional houses, that capacity is going to change.
Right. okay,
Especially we build that water plant down in Emmett
Every
Garden.
garden, yes. And when I say well, that's the one particular one would be the first one, most likely to go online. So it may come online. It's been talked about for 20 plus years. And it'd be the first one most likely desired to come online to, something like Fairleigh Road happens or something of that nature, or any other business or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to need that. So that's going to be a living document of the growth of the use of what we have and the add-on of whatever we might do.
yeah. Jim, maybe you can comment on the, so they did talk about the municipal water system and our wells and them not, reservoirs 1 and 2, and them not really being useful for water source. Is that true or not true?
Yes. So,
Okay,
so many years ago, when we rebuilt this water plant that we currently have back in about 2000 and started in about 2000, we finished about 2003, 2004. The MDE's plan and desire was for all reservoirs throughout the state to be abandoned and for everything to be wells, because reservoirs are much more expensive and much more difficult to treat. So wells are much cleaner in most cases and much easier to treat and much cheaper in that case. The town of Emmitsburg, we had tried back then to do wells. Now the mount on that side of the mountain has tremendous success with wells, substantial wells of good quality.
Mhm.
On this side of the mountain, because the mountain owns basically the other side of the mountain, we own most of this side. But we was unable to be successful in doing wells. We've done several test wells and we wind up getting, a gallon or two a minute. And mostly what we got was mud.
okay,
So the issue was we proved to the point of success or non-success, however you want to look at it, that the town could not survive on just wells alone. So the reservoirs, you have 1 and 2. Now 1 being obviously what everybody sees in Rainbow Lake, and there's a smaller reservoir but the majority comes from Reservoir One, Rainbow Lake.
Mm-hmm.
But because of our lack of success in establishing a decent well that could, overcome the volume that we get from the reservoirs, we could not live on just the reservoir. So MDE at that time had agreed that we must keep our reservoir at this time. It's, I don't, you could always test well again to see how aquifers change or not, for the better, for the worse. But at that time, we were just unsuccessful and could not get additional water volume. There is a well in Emmett Garden that I forget the volume of that, but I want to say it's about 180 taps or somewhere around that. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's a fair amount of taps. So for let's say a medium sized or small sized development, it could do that, or some businesses. And that water has been tested and it's good for decent quality water.
Okay.
Could be done with a small water plant and small filtration injected right into our system.
Okay.
So there's another well J over in the park right here behind us that has a lot of magnesium in it. So it could be brought online again at a cost, but it would have to be, it's a lot to treat that particular well because of the metals in it.
Okay.
So, but the reservoirs for us is a necessity at the moment, right now.
I got a question on Reservoir Two. What size is it and what's its location?
Well, they don't give the locations out, particularly in public, because of all the issues we've had with, we don't want people,
What is size comparable with what we?
it's not incomparable. As far as size and diameter and all that, I don't know how many gallons either one of them is currently, but I mean,
It's obviously man-made, just like this one, right?
yes. So in Reservoir, so Rainbow Lake, I was thinking that thing's got to be, I forget how deep it is. That thing's got to be 20 million gallons or better. It's got to be, I would think. And just looking at it roughly off the top of my head, and it may be more than that, depending on his depth. I don't know how deep it is, but
The satellite service that they're using is helping?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I assume they're still using it.
I assume, but I don't have a lot of details about that. But that detail. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any comments based on Frederick County or state of Maryland's comments on the
No.
comprehensive plan? Nope, okay. Public comment. Would you ladies like to speak? I'm gonna come up to the mic.
Contact with Najila earlier.
Turn your mic on, please.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. On behalf, thank you. I'm Sister Mary Jo Stein. I live in Baltimore, but I work up here with some of the land management team for our land here in Emmitsburg for the Daughters of Charity. I'm a daughter of charity. And we, in the last 6 months, we were applying for a grant from Trees for Sacred Places to plant trees. And we had one of the foresters from Maryland Forestry come and look at our land. And some of her recommendations were to plant more trees along Willow Rill. And we contacted Najila because we had heard that, a couple of years ago that there might have been, in terms of stormwater management, there might have been plans to maybe alter the path of Willow Rill. And we didn't want to plant trees if they were going to get in the way of any kind of plans. And she recommended that we take a look at the comprehensive plan when it came out, because we met, I think, in December, January. And so we were very glad to receive the plan draft and to see that they're in the section on environment and natural resources, especially on 5.4, the idea of vegetative buffers along streams. And we were very happy to see that in the plan, because that's something that goes along with what we had received recommendations for, and we would like to proceed with that plan. Now, I think our trees would be available in 2027, because there's kind of a queue in terms of the different communities with sacred spaces that are applying for this money that goes along with the Maryland's goal of the Chesapeake Bay region to plant 1 million trees by 2035, I think, something like that. So we just wanted to thank you for this very good comprehensive plan that takes into account a lot of environmental measures that have already happened and are continuing to take place. And we would like to contribute to that through this project we have to plant trees along Willow Rill.
Perfect.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Are there any additional public comments on this matter? All right. No one has anything more to present. Public comment period is now closed. The matter is now open for discussion by members of the Planning Commission, which is there any discussion amongst the Planning Commission members? Any discussion? Okay. All right. If nothing further, can I have a motion to approve the 2025 comprehensive plan titled Envision Emmitsburg?
That would be as amended, correct? With
As
with
amended.
the new maps, yes.
With the new maps?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the Emmitsburg Comprehensive Plan entitled Envision Emmitsburg as amended this evening.
Second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, comprehensive plan draft is approved. Are you relieved?
Go to sleep.
All right, is there any other? We have no new business on the
Right.
agenda. Is there any discussion from anybody? Anybody have anything before we adjourn? All right, can we motion to adjourn?
That was too easy.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, adjourned.